Hi everyone, it's Bernard here on behalf of MovieGameNostalgia.com. It's Wednesday, so it's a look at what's out in the movie theatres or the cinemas, whichever way you look at it. I mean, obviously there's a slight discrepancy sometimes between the UK and other territories. Obviously I'm looking at UK stuff, but a lot of this is also the same in other territories, obviously including the US of Wonderful A. So there you go. So that's a look today at what's out in the cinemas and movie theatres. If you like what I do, I mean, it's just a bit of fun, just a bit of information for you every week. Try and do one of these every working day anyway for movies, games and posters. So please, if you push the old subscribe button, that'd be great. And tell your friends and push the bell notifications so you know when these things are coming out. Right, what we got? We've got 6 things this week. We've got one that's got had a limited release, actually, is out streaming this week, but I thought I'd mention it because it looks quite unusual. Anyway, let's start off with the first one we're going to look at today. It's a film called Backroads. Backroads. Crime drama thriller, 18 certificate. An hour and 41 minutes. This is on fairly limited release. It is not, look around if you fancy the idea of it, fancy the thought of it, and but it's on a more limited release. This one, it's an 18 certificate. In 1993, Harley's dad is shot dead, and his mum goes to his mum. So obviously that's written by an American. His mum or mother goes to prison. He has to earn money and look after his 3 kid sisters. No college over 2 years. Family secrets are slowly revealed. Will a good therapist be enough? It's directed by Alex Pettyfer. Stars Jennifer Morrison, Robert Patrick. Nice to see Robert Patrick. Juliette Lewis. It's always nice to see Juliette Lewis, isn't it? Obviously on Internet Movie Database, which I get a lot of critics reviews, etc. from. It's got a Metascore rating of only 4.2 out of 10, which isn't very good, obviously, as you probably know. Metascore, that's all the critics giving it a rating. Couldn't really find any high ratings on it. I've got a couple here from Variety's Owen Gleiberman. He gave it 5 out of 10. It now takes more than it once did to shock us, and Backroads wants to do just that, but the effect in this case is more audacious and it is convincing. The Hollywood Reporter, Frank Scheck, 5 out of 10 again. While Backroads doesn't live up to its considerable dramatic and thematic ambitions, it provides a strong opportunity for its filmmaker star to stretch his dramatic muscles in the lead role. So the critics didn't like it. What about the users? What about you and me, the Joe Public? Well, it's getting a 7 out of 10 rating on Internet Movie Database from people who've just been to the cinema or watched it on special film festivals, etc. MSG Hall on the 8th of August wrote, decent flick with director miscasting himself while Juliette Lewis shines. He's give it a 7 out of 10. Gritty but enjoyable, this tale of a conflicted son has layers of emotion and depth, but is hampered by the rather bland portrayal of its lead character by director Alex Pettyfer. He really is a much better director than actor, and that is a shame because his role requires nuance and depth that, as an actor, he can't provide. However, Juliette Lewis is absolutely stunning in her role. A scene in the jail meeting area should have yielded her an Oscar. Her performance is worth the price of admission alone. So, obviously, a big Juliette Lewis fan. I mean, I love Juliette Lewis. I think she's exceptional. I've managed to see a few of the trailers on this, and as I said, I've read the reviews. The critics don't like it. I think the publics are bit more favourable to it, but it is gritty. So, have a look at the trailers anyway, see what you think, because that gives you pretty much idea of what you're letting yourself in for. So that's Backroads. It's out on a limited cinema release. Right, on to the next one. Well, what time of year is it? Obviously, we're going to get these, aren't we? Getting the old Christmas films now. So we've got Last Christmas, obviously, which, is it obviously based on the song? I think the song might come into it somewhere, might it? You never know. Obviously, one of my favourite songs, obviously, when the kids were young, and I remember buying the Wham video at the time. It was a video that shows how old it is with obviously Last Christmas on it. It's probably one of my favourite Christmas songs of all time. And we must have watched that. I think there was 5 or 6 Wham songs on it, if I remember rightly. And obviously that was the last one. But I must have watched that a few times. Anyway, I digress. But happy memories, eh? Right, Last Christmas is a 12A. So it's a bit perhaps more adult than normal than you get for some Christmas ones. An hour and 42 minutes, a drama, comedy, romance. Kate is a young woman subscribed to bad decisions. Her last date was disaster. That's of having accepted to work as Santa's elf for a department store. However, she meets Tom there. Her life takes a new turn for Kate. It seems too good to be true. Usually is, isn't it? Director Paul Feig, stars Madison Ingoldsby, Emma Thompson, and Boris Isakovic. I think Emma Thompson's doing a bit of a funny accent in this. I'm not sure. I saw little bits of it. No, the critics don't like it very much. I mean, Metascore rating, the critics rating is only 5.1. Empire give it 6 out of 10. Obviously, I have a lot of credence with Empire magazine. While it won't be remembered as one of the great Christmas films, Last Christmas delivers enough moments of heart and humour to keep the festive spirit alive. So they quite liked it. 6 out of 10. That's not too bad. The Guardian, though, Benjamin Lee gave it a 4 out of 10. It might look the part with the director Paul Feig successfully capturing the glossy, tourist-friendly London one would crave from such a film. But the script feels like a rejected first draft with unfunny filler one-liners and scrappy, ill-thought-through narrative. It's a beautifully wrapped Christmas gift that's filled with rotten turkey leftovers. So obviously, Miss Benjamin Lee didn't appreciate it. The users, again, being a little bit more kind. They're giving it an average of 7 out of 10. Michael Dowd, or Dude, on the 10th of November wrote, first hit, it started off on the silly side, and by the end, I was very touched by this heartfelt story. First hit, I'd seen the previews for this story and thought, oh, this could be a silly sort of way to spend an hour and a half. However, I'm glad I didn't judge the movie by the preview. It has a beautiful and deeply touching message. Calypso Kid on the 9th of November wasn't as kind. Only gave it 5 out of 10. This film is a mess. I can't even list all the things that are wrong with it. Emma Thompson playing a Yugoslavian mother. Yeah, that's where the accent comes in, obviously. Really? George Michael's songs that, on their own merit, are great, yes, but are played during scenes that are inappropriate for what the song is about. Multiple storylines that are shoved together without properly being fleshed out. It's like this was a school project that the students procrastinated on doing and threw it all together in a rush to make the deadline. This film had so much potential, but in the end is disappointing. So not very great words. I mean, these films, obviously, this will be out next Christmas on DVD and Blu-ray, obviously, but this is is it one worth going to the cinema for? Well, there's not many about, is it? It's a British one. Give it a chance. There was a few positives there, wasn't there? And yeah, I mean, it's the sort of thing. It's nice. It looks like it might be a nice watch, but hey, you watch the trailers again, see what you think, see if it's worth a go. I think it might be worth a look anyway. So that's Last Christmas. Right, on to the next one. Probably the biggie of the week, or probably the most well known. It's also known as Ford versus Ferrari, but it's Le Mans 66. So it did confuse me a little bit because obviously it was coming up with different names. And when I was looking for information on this, obviously it doesn't take long. I mean, it doesn't take much to confuse you. It doesn't take long for me to suss it out. Obviously, it's the same film, Ford versus Ferrari, and obviously Le Mans 66. It's a 12A. It's 2 hours 32 minutes, so you get your money's worth. Action, biography, drama. American car designer Carroll Shelby and driver Ken Miles battle corporate interference, the laws of physics, and their own personal demons to build a revolutionary race car for Ford and challenge Ferrari at the 24-hour of Le Mans in 1966. Director James Mangold, stars Christian Bale, Matt Damon, Caitriona Balfe. So yeah, I mean, so it's a nice 66, isn't it? So I mean, the cars. I love the style of the cars in those days. So it's all nicely photographed, etc. It's getting a critics rating of 7.3 out of 10, which is very good. Total Films Matt Matum give it a 6 out of 10. 2 immensely enjoyable central performances and some of the best race sequences yet filmed feel an otherwise standard sports movie. And the Hollywood Reporter, Todd McCarthy, was a bit more enthused about this one. He gave it a 9 out of 10. The film's lively dynamic so much to the bristly nature of nearly every relationship and interaction in the film. The users, again, yeah, slightly higher than the critics, 7.6 out of 10. Neil Francis, writing in November 2019, 8 out of 10. Not a massive fan of motor racing or motor racing movies, but I did enjoy this. The major asset for the film is the cast. Matt Damon is very good, but the real star is fantastic. It's a fantastic Christian Bale, a superb performance from a great actor. The story of an unsung British hero, a very modest and a very real hero. He did really drive a tank in World War II. Is a tale very much worth telling. It is long, but flies by, go see. Yeah, so I'm not the biggest fan myself of multi-car based movies, to be honest with you. I don't like car chases in films very much. I do put up with them, but if it goes on and on, I do get a little bit bored. So shoot me. But there you go. And films like Bullet, obviously well known for the car chases. I didn't not overly impressed, but hey, that's just me. Fast and Furious has never appealed to me because of the car chases. I know there's stories to it as well, but there you go. Yeah, so Le Mans 66 looks classy, looks well put together, looks very well acted. So that'll be a film perhaps to go out and see this weekend and before Christmas. And the next one we're going to look at, well, we've not had a zombie one for a while, have we? The trouble is we've had zombie comedies, haven't we, recently? And obviously one or two, one's been pretty good, one's been pretty naff, and this is another zombie type comedy. So again, if you're into that sort of thing, it's a 15 rating, an hour and 33 minutes. Comedy horror. A washed-up musician teams up with a teacher and kids to show. Oh, sorry, say that again. A washed-up musician teams up with a teacher and a kids show personality to protect young children from a sudden outbreak of zombies. So, I mean, if you've seen the Zombieland and obviously the Bill Murray effort recently, then perhaps this is a little bit of fresh air. It's directed and written by Abe Forsyth, stars Lupita Nyong'o, Josh Gad, Alexander England. It's getting a critics rating 5.7, which isn't bad. I mean, it doesn't sound great, but I mean, it's nearly 6, so that's the critics. Screen International's Anthony Kaufman gave it 6 out of 10, so this is probably average for the critic scores. Little Monsters doesn't exactly reanimate the popular subgenre in novel ways, but there's enough humorous gags, suspenseful scares, fleshy gore, and quite surprisingly, a dash of heartfelt sentiment to make for an amusing thrill ride. So obviously the critics 5.7, the users a little bit kinder, 6.3. Even though it's a 6.3, obviously most people actually went to the actual effort of writing the review, were quite positive about it. Ghost Stuff Awesome on the 20th of October wrote, "It's not everyone's cup of tea, but for those who like this kind of humour, I can't see why you wouldn't like it. Full of character and tons of humour. Check it out." I give it an 8 out of 10. Cutest zombie movie ever, one of my top faves behind Zombieland and its sequel. This is from Ad TSHXC in November. He gave it a 9 out of 10. Obviously American, hilarious R-rated comedy. Obviously it's R-rated in America. Nothing too racy or offensive. I watched this with my girlfriend who was a teacher, and she ended up tearing up at the end. Very entertaining, not very violent, hardly scary, but if you truly put yourself in the character's shoes, you can see a lot of these events playing out in reality, almost exactly how it was written for this movie. An adorable film, teens and horror lovers. Nothing too exciting here, just the cutest zombie movie ever. You could probably predict 50 to 100% of this whole movie, and it's still worth watching. So, obviously, she liked it. I mean, she appreciated it, and a teacher liked it as well. Obviously, it's obviously a teacher's one of the central characters. Yeah, it looks okay. I've seen the trailers. The trailers didn't inspire me particularly. When I get to watch this, I'll do a review and put it on Movie Game Nostalgia or on Twitter. So. I'll have a look at this when I get to see it. But yeah, there's enough there to not put me off going to watch that. So that's Little Monsters. Right, the next one we're going to look at from a comedy horror sort of thing, we go to a more a drama thriller. Obviously a bit dry perhaps for some people. I'm not too sure. The Report. Let's find out a little bit about that for you. It's an hour and 59, so it's quite long. Drama thriller. Idealistic Senate staffer Daniel J. Jones, tasked by his boss to lead an investigation into the CIA's post-9/11 detention and interrogation program, uncovers shocking secrets. Directed and written by Scott Z. Burns, stars Adam Driver, Annette Bening, the wonderful Annette Bening, and John Hamm. The critics like this, which sometimes is the case with these dry drama thrillers. It's got a Metascore rating of 7.6 out of 10. The Guardian's Benjamin Lee, I mean, just looking at it as an average review, he gave it 8 out of 10. The Report is an angry, urgent film that rarely raises its voice, smartly conveying inhumanity and injustice without unnecessary drama. I found it thrilling. And in this case, the user's not quite as up for it. I mean, they give it an average 7, so it's still an excellent rating. I mean, looks like a film, more a DVD film for me, but obviously if you want to go to the pictures and you like this sort of gritty drama, then please do so and let me know in the comments what you thought of the film. User reviews, we've got Geo Sawan. He posted this on the 8th of November. The awful truth. Scott Z. Burns presents a difficult film in the narrative as in the subjects it raises. Throughout 2 hours, we are told how Dan Jones prepared, defended, and fought to publish his reports of more than 7,000 pages. To be as faithful to the original story, Burns presents us with an immense amount of names, dates, situations that may not be very familiar to the public other than the American. Yet the essence of the film is to shout against torture and methods of coercion by government. Adam Driver, who carries the full weight of the film, gives us a remarkable and very convincing performance through which we can fully identify with the subject in question. It is not an easy movie because the amount of information on which it is based asks the viewer for a fine attention. However, Burns manages to move forward and bring the story to a bright and hoping conclusion. So there you go. I mean, it may be, as you say, some of you may be turned off by that and maybe a little bit dry for people, but yeah, I mean, it's a film I'll sort of sit and watch and really concentrate on it. It looks a really good film. That's The Report, which obviously, again, with a lot of these American things about the establishments, etc., there's sometimes a lot of negativity on critics' reviews. You know, people who don't agree with how whoever's in charge at the time is portrayed. But on what I've seen on this film, generally it's been very well received and well appreciated over the pond. And obviously, as I say, we don't know much perhaps about the ins and outs, but we learn something, don't we? And if it's mostly factual, then great. You know, we'll learn something from it. So that's The Report. Sort of thing I will watch, obviously, but I couldn't recommend it to like my fiance. She'd be probably bored after 10 or 15 minutes. Right, and the last one we're going to look at, it's actually still on a very limited cinema release. It's another Christmassy one, animation. Look, superb animation on this, and it's called Klaus. It's actually for streaming, I think, on this weekend. I think Netflix is streaming. It's a Netflix movie, so I assume Netflix is doing it, but you may be able to obviously catch it at different rental streams, etc. So it's a film called Klaus. I've included this, even though, as I said, it's coming out to stream this week, because it is on at the movies still. So if you want to go out and watch it, and as I said, the animation is excellent. It's absolutely brilliant. I love the animation of this. Klaus, it's a PG, an hour and 36 minutes, so it is quite long. An animated comedy adventure. A simple act of kindness always sparks another, even in a frozen, faraway place. When Smeerensburg's new postman, Jesper, befriends toymaker Klaus, their gifts melt an age-old feud and deliver a slate full of holiday traditions. Director Sergio Pablos, stars John Cusack, Rashida Jones and J.K. Simmons. It's getting a critics' overall rating of 6.3 out of 10, which is okay for this sort of film. The Rap's Alonso Duralde gave it a 7 out of 10. It's far more successful with holiday magic than it is with character-based comedy, but that's not enough of a flaw to keep young audience and their parents from potentially turning this feature into a cherished annual tradition. So, I mean, some good words there about Klaus. Obviously, if it's going to be, I do have my films that I watch every Christmas, and, you know, there's 4 or 5 that I will go out of my way to stick on at some stage. It'd be nice to think Klaus might join that. I've seen the trailers of it. I mean, the users are giving it an 8.9 out of 10, but no one's actually written a review as such. So, I mean, obviously, as soon as I get to see this, and obviously if it's out soon on, I'll do a review on this and let you know on Twitter and at moviegamenostalgia.com. So that's Klaus. So that's this week's stuff at the cinema. Backroads, an 18 crime drama thriller. Last Christmas, a 12A comedy drama romance. Le Mans 66, a 12A action biography drama. Little Monsters, a comedy horror, a 15 rating. The Report, also a 15 rating. A drama thriller, so some powerful stuff obviously in that. And Klaus, a PG, which is still on the cinema, but if you want to hang on, it'll be on. Be able to stream very, very soon. An animated comedy film. For Christmas, obviously, hey, Christmas is here. We're not far away, are we? It'll be honest before we know it's absolutely freezing in Manchester in the UK. It's not been this cold so early in the year. I mean, it started probably 3 or 4 weeks back. It's horrible at the moment. We didn't have the greatest summer, but that's our problem, isn't it? In Manchester, there you go. But it's not always as bad as people make out. But it's pretty grim at the moment in Manchester, up north. Pretty grim up north in the UK at the moment. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Please push the old subscribe button. I'll be back tomorrow with looking at the posters from the 90s and 2000s. And on Friday, I've gone on to have a look at the BBC again. I'm just picking up some. Obviously, there's a lot of well-known comedies on BBC iPlayer and available to stream if you're outside of the UK or you don't have access to the BBC. But there's 10 there that I've sort of missed as well. That I can recommend you to go back and watch them on the iPlayer or on various streaming sites. All comedy. I've not looked at comedies really over the past few months, so I'll have a look at some British-based comedies, basically, obviously. So that might be interesting. There's 10 there, and I rate them from obviously not the worst because they're all quite good, but from the okay to the very best that perhaps you've got a minute, watch them. There's not many episodes. It's British, isn't it? So we don't have 24 episodes of things. We only sort of do 4, 5, 6, 8 episodes at a time. So there's not too much. You can binge watch them in an afternoon, even, can't you? An afternoon and an evening, or a couple of afternoons. Anyway, I'll be back on Friday with that, having a look at that. So please follow me on Twitter at nostalgia_movie. I'm on Facebook at Bernard and Ian with links to movie game nostalgia. Obviously, my Bernard and Ian YouTube channel with all these movie reviews, board game reviews, and looking at posters and old films. Obviously, we end up looking at old films, don't we, when we look at the posters. And obviously, if you're into football, I do a Manchester City vlog on Citizen, which is again on Bernard and Ian YouTube. So please check that out and tell your friends if they're interested in anything like that. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully I'll see you all again tomorrow. Whatever you do the rest of the way, have a good one. Look after yourself, look after your friends, and particularly look after your family. And I'll see you all again very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.